I love you. Welcome back, Couch Potatoes. We have a very lovely and very exciting and very niche genre Smackdown for you today. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh.
And I am the Faceless Leon. We're here with some prison dramas, I think.
Yeah.
We can say.
I guess.
Yeah.
Holes isn't really much of a drama, but yeah.
It's, I guess it's pretty comical. But some
I guess comedy drama, sure.
Pretty dramatic things happen, yeah. Also some tragedy.
Oh my gosh. And
this is Green Faces on the
Shawshank
Couch.
Redemption.
This is Green Faces on the Couch. A podcast about movies and TV. Sorry.
You're okay. Yeah, I was saying that it's also in Holes. There's also a lot of Shawshank Redemption ripoff in, which is kind of hilarious. Yes. I didn't notice that until I watched both of these films back to back, and was like, "Huh."
Basically,
every plot beat
movie.
is almost
yeah.
Every plot beat is almost verbatim, about the same. Yeah, and like I didn't even like. I was just kind of like, yeah, they have a lot of similarities. And then the bus shows up with that twitchy kid and Holes, and I was like, oh. That's the kid from, or that's the one kid that, what's
Johnny
his name? Tim Robbins teaches in Shawshank.
I'm just going to pretend it's Johnny.
I think it is Johnny. Tommy.
It's
Tommy.
Yeah, it's Tommy.
Tommy Williams. Tommy.
Close enough.
Come on.
It's the standard greaser name.
Before we,
insert greaser name here. Yeah.
Slick back your hair and roll up your prison sleeves and
hide your cigarettes.
Throw on a bit of Elvis lip. Before we talk the Prison Break films, though, I went to the theater a couple more times, and I would like to talk about it. Actually, I say a couple more times. I watched one on it was on something Peacock, maybe, I can't remember. The Firestarter, the most recent. Yeah, okay. It's the most recent Stephen King adaptation, starring Zac Efron and some little girl as his daughter. Firestarter is the story of a father who's trying to protect his daughter from the government because back in his college days he was part of some secret, medicinal tests. They're testing a new drug, that kind of stuff. And the drug gave him and his soon-to-be wife, who they met at these tests, fancy little mind powers. Then they had a kid. And that kid's mind powers was fucking flames. Pyrokinesis, baby. And in fact, I believe, I could be completely wrong, but it might be a myth, but I believe Stephen King is known for coining the phrase pyrokinesis.
I, at the very least, was told that by my creative writing teachers.
Oh, okay.
In a lecture, so.
I spread around a lot of fake information, but if a teacher is throwing it around, I feel good about it.
That does not mean they did not pull up the credit on that. But I'm pretty sure that
it now, but I don't want to ruin
that Firestarter is the first literary reference to pyrokinesis as a word.
Right. The book itself is interesting. I remember enjoying it. I'm slowly rereading through Stephen King in a completely different light. And, he's always been one of my favorite storytellers. But as I read more and more, the more I'm just like, oof, yeah, you don't really get female characters that well, do you? But that's fine. That you don't have to be like the greatest interpretation of characters. It's his ability to tell a story that is fascinating. He tells a really good story. And this adaptation does not. It's so bad. It is complete joke.
I just want to jump off of what you said about Stephen King, that it's not just that he's such a good storyteller, it's just the pure volume of different and the spectrum of stories that he's told. Mostly, obviously, horror, but
Right. He's got a very vivid imagination.
Yeah.
He's got that old, not to call him old, but like ever since his youth even, he has had that old man storyteller vibe.
Right.
Where, you know, like you go to your grandpa who's just sitting in a rocking chair and he just tells you a long-winded story. And it's like, it has that charm to it. And then you add all the horror elements, all the focus of many characters. Like he does build a lot of in-depth characters. It's just a lot of his female characters are very stereotyped or, you know, one-dimensional or two-dimensional.
He's just not sure what to do with them. I think he's just afraid to really go into
a few.
I guess I'm not as well-read as you on it, but it seems to me that he might be a little afraid to really dive into that female perspective, and I think that might also be the trap of it, is that just write them as a person, like just write them like everybody else and you'll do just fine.
Yeah, literally the easiest the easiest thing I've been told is just write somebody without thinking about what gender they are. Exactly. And then when you edit it, you can change their gender how you want. And that's been like the easiest thing for me, is literally I just write them. Like, I don't even think about who they are as a gender unless it's important to their story.
Right.
And I can just change it as needed when I come back and edit it.
Of course.
But that adaptation, the Zac Efron adaptation, I was laughing the whole fucking time. Some really bad effects. Let me pull this up real quick. It seems rude to just like keep shitting on it and then immediately be like directed by Keith Thomas, but it's directed by Keith Thomas with a screenplay by Scott Teems. Now Scott Teems is I think he did the last Halloween, the Halloween Kills film. I guess I could just look that up too. Yes, Halloween Kills. He didn't. It does not look like he wrote the other one. Yeah, Halloween Kills. I wasn't a big fan of it. It was interesting, but it had a lot of stupidity, and this one had a lot of stupidity too.
I was not even interested. I was really looking forward after like the first couple scenes where they're like bringing back all these old characters. I was like, oh, that's cool, and then it was not good.
Yeah,
it just wasn't.
And then it's just like, bleh.
Yeah.
And that's Firestarter. It's awful. I do not recommend going out of your way to watch it on Peacock. Zac Efron, you might need to have a conversation with your agent, because he's mad. I'm just like, not Zac Efron. Zac Efron tries.
Okay.
But this movie doesn't have a lot for him to do. That's the whole thing. Is like the actors try, but there's not a lot for them to do. Mm-hmm. There's no guidance. There's no. It just felt like a whole like, we have this title, we need to remake a movie or something. Like, hopefully somebody will pay us money. But then they just dump it on Peacock and they're like, well, oops. So don't do it. The other movie I wanted to talk about, let me pull it up here real quick. This is the last one. There we go. Got it up. It is called Men. And I went to the theater for this one.
Okay. I'm going to expect that you don't light it up as hard as you did for Firestarter.
No, I will not, but I will caution. I will do a lot of cautioning before. I do recommend it, but I recommend it for a very specific type of person. But it is the latest A24 film. You've heard the Faceless Leon and I talk on and on about A24. We love them. Very good independent filmmaking company. And it's directed by Alex Garland. Alex Garland did the, what's that name? Natalie Portman... Annihilation. You remember Annihilation?
Yeah, that was interesting.
That, with the creepy bear.
Yeah.
And I think he did Ex Machina too. Yes, Ex Machina, Annihilation. Oh, this is only his third film. It's, he has a very interesting mind. He has a very, very interesting look at horror. And I've always enjoyed it. It's always been very interesting and very, very fascinating, And it stars Jessie Buckley, who is a woman whose husband commits suicide after she threatens to divorce him. And it's his like, my death will always be on your hands kind of thing. And with all that mental trauma going on after such a situation, she rents out a cottage out in like the English village side, like far out of where she's at. It's a very nice looking village area, a lot of walking space. and she rents it out, and she goes there to try to like come to terms with everything that's happened. But while she's out there, she starts getting stalked by someone or something. Played by Rory Kinnear. He is the pig fucking mayor in Black Mirror.
Every
as
time
well
you say
as
it's so fast that I pig fucking mayor. Pig fucking mayor.
Yes.
Yeah.
The pig fucking mayor in Black Mirror, as well as Frankenstein's monster and what is that? I always forget the name of that show. Penny Dreadful.
Yeah.
Great actor. Absolutely phenomenal actor. Crazy good in this. Because he plays so many different roles. Because when she goes there, like every male in this little village is played by Rory Kinnear. But the makeup is so good that you don't really notice it. Like, yes, if you were looking at it, you're like, yep, that's the same guy. But like a lot of it, you're just kind of like, they look a little similar. That's about it. But then, she goes on a walk and she wakes up something or someone, again, naked Rory Kinnear, and it just starts stalking her. And that is this movie, is her, trying to be out in this English area, but being stalked by all these men. And as well as the traumatizing past of her dead husband, who was also abusive emotionally and once physically, that we see. So like, very traumatizing messaging, a lot of that kind of stuff. So I do, caution before going in about that. But the acting alone is phenomenal. It's great acting from everybody. I enjoyed the story. It's very kind of slow burn building, which is very nice. The only problem is, and where I have to caution people, is that there's a specific image at the very end. I won't spoil what it is, but there is a specific image that ties so heavily into what the message of the movie is. So it's like you have to see it to understand it. They do that image. They repeat it 4 times in a row. You see this happen. You see this action play out on screen over and over and over again. And there was a clear moment where me and everyone in the audience was like, I'm done with this. Like, you could just feel all of us turn off. We were all disgusted, which is good. That is the message. That's what the movie was trying to do. But it kind of overdid it. Because, and at the same time, did it just the right amount, because it stuck with me for fucking ever. Like, I still can't get it out of my head. But it is disturbing. It's great. It's a good message. It really is. I do highly recommend this film, but just know that it might really sicken you at the end. And in a good way. But at the same time, in a bad way.
Yeah, I feel like maybe go in with a trigger warning.
Yeah, for real. But that is my green ketchup. Those were the 2 films I've seen.
So I wanted to say about your stars there. Kinnear is actually Our Flag Means Death as well. The Taika Waititi pirate project thing. I forget who the director is of that, but whatever. I think it might be Taika. Maybe.
Might be. Maybe. That dude does everything.
He does do everything. The other thing is, wasn't there something that we watched Jessie Buckley in that we just talked about?
The Lost Daughter, I believe, with Olivia Colman.
Oh my god, that was
I believe that was her.
Yeah, she was, yes. She was the young version of Olivia Colman. Which, good casting.
Right, who slept with Maggie Gyllenhaal's
man,
husband.
that was actually quite some time ago. Man, I felt like we just talked about her. Well, anyways.
Did we watch Judy, too? She was in Judy. Did we watch that?
Yeah, we did watch Judy. Was she the...
That's right, Judy Garland. Yes.
Was she the redheaded...
She was... Rosalind Wilder.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't remember.
Yeah, she was really good in that. I don't remember
this movie that much.
I remember saying very good things about her when we talked about that. And I also recall having this exact same conversation about Judy when we... did Lost Daughter.
Oh my gosh. Oh no, are we those people?
We're those people. Anyways, you're pretty amazing, and I'm sorry that I had to bring it out this way. I'm gonna take my foot out of my mouth now. And
see, for a second there, I thought you were talking about me. I thought you were just saying that I was pretty amazing. I was like, "Oh,
you are pretty amazing, Greedy." But I was talking about Buckley.
Shucks. That's fair. Yeah, she's great in this too. She does. They use her voice. She has an echo part. If you've seen the trailer, you know what I'm talking about. But like she's in a tunnel and she makes like a sound and it echoes. And she does it again. She ends up making like a little song using the echoes, and they use that to like a horror advantage for the soundtrack, and it's really fucking cool. I loved that. That was really awesome. But yeah, that is my green ketchup. 1 recommend, 1 do not recommend. Unless you want to have a hilarious laughing time, because there is some very funny, not meant to be funny moments in Firestarter.
Oh, boy.
Or if you just want to see Zac Efron.
Well, let's talk about a good Stephen King movie.
Yeah, let us. As well as a director famous for making Stephen King movies.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Frank Darabont. He did The Green Mile and Mist. He might have made others, but those are the 2 I know.
Oh, well.
Yeah. The Green Mile is pretty fucking good,
I actually have not seen it. I really... maybe we should have put both of these up to each other as spiritual sequels, but we kind of did this to watch Holes because we want to watch, because somebody brought up Holes and how it holds up. It wasn't just me though; it was our friends, our dearly beloved friends. They brought it up to me and they're like, "Man, it was one of them's first time," and they was like, that was a surprisingly deep movie, and I was like, man, it's been years since I watched that. So yes, that's why. It
is. Yeah, I won't dog on Holes. We'll talk that after we talk Shawshank, because it's like it is a good movie and it covers a lot. But it was weird to me because you were like, oh, we could do Holes with Shawshank, and I was like, what? There's not really much of a because all I was thinking was Prison Breakout, and I was like, I think Shawshank would work better with like Prisoner or Escape from Alcatraz with Clint Eastwood, or a Green Mile with another Frank Darabont, and you were like, but they're all about digging holes, and I was like, oh, I get where you're at. I like that.
I forgot that's what I said, but they are surprisingly absolutely the same movie.
Yeah, it was. I was actually kind of shocked when I was watching it, but let's talk. Yeah, they really were. It's so funny. But let's talk Shawshank. I'm very excited. I love Shawshank Redemption. It's based of course, it's as we mentioned, it's a Stephen King adaptation. His novella is like a 90-page short story kind of thing. His novella is called Rita Hayworth in the Shawshank Redemption. Because that's the poster. Yeah.
That actually makes a lot more sense than the Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah. Literally, like, I think you can read his novella in the exact same amount of time as it takes you to watch the movie. And, well, if you're a quick reader, that is. But if that is the case, I would recommend just watching the movie, because I think this is one of the situations where the movie is better. His novella is great, don't get me wrong. But, well, the one time I read it, I remember it being great. I have not read it since I was a kid, so maybe it sucks. But the movie is phenomenal, especially because it's acted by Tim Robbins as Andy Dufresne and Morgan Freeman as Red. I don't remember what his name is.
Ellis Boyd Redding.
Yeah. Yes.
Ellis Boyd Red.
Everybody just calls him Red. And Andy Dufresne is innocent. He is convicted of murdering his wife and his wife's lover. She was, as they say a lot in this movie, fucking a golf pro. And like they're very hardcore about that. There's only I think there's only one female role, right? There might be two.
That's a good question. And it doesn't upset me because it's based in a prison.
Yes. Yeah.
But
I won't knock it for that.
Man, now that you say, I don't remember who this.
I think it is just his wife. Maybe somebody at the grocery store when they're bagging things, but I don't think there's another female role except for his wife, who is just in one sex scene and then she gets shot.
Played by Claire Slimmer.
Oh. There you go. And yeah, you're right. It's like I won't knock it. It is about prison life, and that is a very big aspect of this story is how men kind of churn to whatever they can to get them excited.
Yeah.
And for Andy Dufresne, he makes it a big poster in his
yes.
jail cell,
Of
starting with Rita Hayworth,
that's right.
developing into Raquel Welch, somebody else in between, Marilyn Monroe, I think.
Maybe.
I think I remember like the skirt photo on there. I can't remember, but it's a long movie.
It is a long movie.
But Andy he's innocent. He did not kill his wife. Spoilers, if you really just don't want to know anything going in. But he.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess they don't say that at the beginning, but I feel like it. Yeah, it feels kind of obvious. But of course, I've seen the movie about a bazillion times.
Yeah, but that's what happens. Tim Robbins goes to court. He's unable to defend himself, basically, or his lawyer sucks too. His lawyer fucked him, as they also say in this movie a lot.
Yeah.
And he gets sentenced to 2 life sentences, back to back, for each person that he killed. And he gets sent to Shawshank. And Shawshank's rough. It's a secluded prison. I assume it's out in Maine somewhere.
Yeah, it is.
Every Stephen King story is in Maine.
Because he I believe their parole was in Maine, and usually it's pretty close to the prison, or if you got family and you're being held in a different state, I think they let you go be with your family. But I don't know. Maybe they don't. I've never had to go to prison.
Almost positive.
I've been fortunate.
Almost positive that it's Maine. It's a Stephen King story.
It's
They're
Maine.
all in
Yeah,
Maine.
it's
Maine
Stephen
or Colorado.
King. It's Maine. Yeah, you're right.
And one in Florida. But there he is under the tortures, basically the torments of the warden, played by Bob Gunton, Samuel Norton. Very, very well portrayed by Bob Gunton. I feel like he's in everything. I feel like he's in a lot of things, but I can't remember what he's in.
He's in a lot of things. You're right.
But yeah, I just can't remember at all.
I don't know either.
Like every time I see his face, I'm just like, you look so freaking familiar, but I can't place you. But one of the captains under the warden,
Daredevil, I guess.
Oh right, yeah, he was Owlsley. That's right. But no, he's also under the torments of one of the prison the prison guard captains, Byron Hadley, played by Clancy Brown, who is also in everything, and I can never remember. We just talked about him recently.
Clancy Brown does sound very familiar. Oh yeah, yes. He's always like a sergeant or some kind of military person, typically, unless he's being used specifically for his voice. But yeah, he's in everything. You guys know who this person is. You just don't know.
Yeah, if you look you look him up, you just be like, oh, right, yeah, that's him. I remember him. Yes, I do. I think he was in a TV show is what I'm trying to find. Yeah, he was in The Flash. CW's The Flash. He was a general in there.
Oh, what was he in that?
He was also in Daredevil.
What?
yeah. And in The Mandalorian. He was in The Mandalorian. And The Crown. Look at that. He plays Lyndon B. Johnson in The Crown.
That's right. He was Lyndon B. Johnson in The Crown.
You know what? He was in Lost. That was it. I found it. Yep, he was in 2 episodes of Lost. We didn't talk about him on that episode, but
right, sure, he was in 2 episodes. Well, he's in everything. Nobody. He's got the longest freaking resume ever,
and he's also got the longest nightstick he uses to beat people. And literally kills a prisoner on day 1.
on Andy's first day, and this fellow prisoner. So they play this game with the fresh meat called fishing, and they take bets on who's going to break down and cry on the first day. Someone always does. And
dude,
was it Boggs? Is it? Oh boy.
No, Boggs is I think he's the head of the sisters, right?
Oh, you're right. He is the head of the sisters. Is it Haywood? I think it's Haywood. Yes, William
2
Sadler.
things happened that day.
William Sadler bets on the man that unfortunately gets beaten because he won't shut up. Yeah, so it's pretty rough.
Crying too hard. Yeah. It's the awakening. It's like coming to the prison and seeing what it's gonna happen, what the world's like, and it's a shock to Tim Robbins, to Andy Dufresne.
Right.
Because, he's innocent. He's like, well, what the fuck do I do? I'm like, this isn't supposed to be my life. My whole, I was a bank teller. And, he, over time, eventually, learns to use that to his advantage.
Well, before we continue on, I would like to say that night, very telling part of Andy is that he doesn't break down that first night at all.
No, yeah.
And he, in fact, costs Red 2 packs of cigarettes because he bet that he would.
Yeah, which there's like an immediate, I assume it's immediate error. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just not thinking about it. But yeah, he says that night he cost me 2 packs of cigarettes. And in the very next scene, Haywood comes up to the table. He's like, fork them over, boys. Give me all the cigs. And like Red just puts down 3 cigarettes. And I'm just like, how much is a pack in prison? Because he didn't put down 2 packs of cigarettes.
Yeah.
Like, he literally just took out a couple cigarettes. Haywood lines them up and he's just got 6 in front of him.
He maybe he would have earned 2 packs of cigarettes. If Andy
maybe
cried.
That makes sense. I get ya.
He wanted Andy to cry.
Yeah, Andy is a withdrawn man. He knows that salvation lies within, as he has told many times, and he that's kind of what he does. He gets raped by, we've mentioned the sisters, Boggs and the sisters. That's like one of the first trials that he faces, and he fights back, but he loses the good fight sometimes. Yeah. And it's just, it's hard to watch. It is upsetting. There is catharsis of sorts for Andy, but at the same time, it's not pleasant, not good. It's not good to watch. It's like it's just rough. Like it's some traumatizing shit is what it is.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Excuse me. This movie was on all the time on TV channels when we were growing up.
Right.
So it was very informative or formative of my youth, whatever. And I was like, man, I guess life can be just total dog shit. And I think it prepped me for life a little bit.
Guess I'm just happy I'm not in prison.
Yeah. I guess I won't do bad shit or get caught.
Right. It's definitely one of those movies where you do feel for those who are at like rock bottom, because that's pretty much what's going on with Andy and a lot of the other prisoners. And then, it also touches on institutionalization, where you've been in prison for so long that once you're freed, once you're released into society, that you're not rehabilitated, you're not prepped to re-enter.
Right.
You've just been punished. You haven't been saved or anything. You've just been doing nothing. You're supposed to build character. That's a big thing in Holes, not so much in Shawshank Redemption. Like, you don't really. There's nothing there to help you re-enter society.
When they go through the parole system for Red, that every time we go to see the parole office, it's through Red. He's, he's been in prison for what, 40 years or something like that? I think it was 20, but it was 40 at the end. Because Andy was there for 19 years. Sorry to get into some spoily math there. And he'd already been there for 20, I think, when he came. And
I think so.
Every time he goes to the parole office, he tells them what he thinks they want to hear. Like, yes, I've been rehabilitated. I don't want to be here anymore. I want to go out and rejoin society. And I like what the movie is trying to say at the end of the story with that storyline, but I also never quite understood exactly.
Yeah, because the things.
Yeah, why? I'll go ahead and spoil it. He gets approved at the end. And
it's after like giving them a piece of his mind.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? You guys aren't gonna let me out, so why does it matter? Just let me rot in this hole. Just leave me alone.
Yeah, he's just like, go fuck yourself, like.
Yeah, and then they let him go. And
goddamn young kids.
It's like, okay, so what are you trying to say?
It's ridiculous.
I don't get it.
The ending, honestly, is where this whole movie falls apart for me. As much as I enjoyed the ending, because like it for me, the movie ends once the warden shoots himself. Sorry, big spoilers.
Oh, that was a big spoiler.
But like, this movie's been out since 1994. If you haven't seen it, I really hope you've seen it before. But like, it's that is the story. It's been done before. It's not the first prison breakout film. Yeah. But like that's that is the thing is Andy starts trying to break out of prison. At the same time, he's like building up this whole kind of like vengeance arc kind of thing. Like I don't want to give everything away. Right. But like it's a really amazing third act when it all comes to fruition. When you see it all play out, it's so fucking satisfying. It's really great. And then, as I said, there is a scene where the mayor shoots himself. And then the movie goes on for like 15 more minutes.
Yes,
because it's got to wrap everything up.
Yeah, because this story is actually being told from Red's perspective.
Right.
I feel like the writer felt that it needed to come to a natural conclusion for Red. And honestly, I kind of disagree. I like that ending action with Red, but I think I've liked it more the more times I've watched it. It's grown on me.
Yeah.
Like, I want his ending to come and for him to find Andy.
Right. My problem with it is, so the whole thing is reliant upon facts that Andy told him.
Right.
And then like 5 years after Andy told him those facts which were true 20 years ago, but in America where things are constantly being built, make little sense. Like, he tells him specifically, like, go to this tree, go to this town, drive so far out here, walk down a pathway until you see this thing, and you'll keep going down this other pathway until you see a giant tree. And under that giant tree, there's going to be a volcanic rock. And you're going to find that volcanic rock. And underneath that, I'm going to leave you something. There's going to be a gift there. So go do that.
That's true.
How do you fucking know in 20 years, how has none of that changed? I'm sorry, weather could have pushed that rock the fuck away. Somebody could have come by and just been like, this is a neat rock. Picked it up, taken it home.
That's true.
There's so much coincidence. And then, too, he doesn't even tell him the fucking name of the city in his letter. Yeah, he's just like, you remember that city I told you about one time? And he was just like, Zuwatneo.
Yes.
That's right.
I'm like, that one I was like, how did he fucking remember that?
There is a Family Guy episode about it that is like so fucking perfect because it makes all these jokes. And like, I honestly love that Family Guy episode. It's really great because it brings up a lot of like the weird like plot conveniences that this movie has because it has a lot of them. But still, it's still a very enjoyable movie despite those conveniences. But like my favorite one is Morgan Freeman goes out to that rock and he reads that letter. He's like, you remember the name of that city I told you? And he's like, oh, fuck.
Are you kidding me, Andy?
he mentioned it once. Like, I don't remember that name. If somebody tells it to me once in passing.
He mentioned it to me once. I didn't know how he even spelled that. What are you talking about?
It's fucking ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
But at the same time, it is wonderful. I don't hate that final 15 minutes. I'm just annoyed by it because it's very convenient.
I get what you're saying. It is very convenient. But about the tree and the rock thing, so Andy tells him that, and then he goes and makes sure that it's still there. You know, if it's not, he was making a gamble, but he goes and makes sure it's still there because he's given that thing. And if the rock wasn't there, he could replace the rock. He's a resourceful man, as we see throughout the course of the movie. But
he's also
then
just
it still has to last
that Red is going to get out.
Like 3 to 5 years. Yeah. Between his escape.
He has no idea.
Red's eventual whatever.
Yeah, because he could have gone out there, done all of that. Red stays in there for another decade. He gets out. Now there's a Walmart there. Like, I think that's another of the Family Guy jokes. Like, there's so much assumptions being made at the end. I like it better. I don't think the Stephen King book ends with them seeing each other again. It ends with him saying, I'm going to go try to find Andy, basically. Like, I'm going to go see if I can find that city again, see if he's out there. Like, I like that more. I like them not meeting each other. I like it just being like a cliffhanger, kind of like, well, I hope they do. You can fill it in.
Right.
Like,
sure.
It makes all that coincidence fall away. Because now it's you making the coincidence happen. So it's like, and that's fine. I don't know. I still do love this movie. I guess to go into closing statements, I've watched this movie a lot. I love it so much. The beats are great. The acting is phenomenal, specifically from Morgan Freeman. Like, and Andy is Tim Robbins as Andy is phenomenal too. He's a little crazy eyed a lot. There's a lot of moments where he's just like very bug eyed, just like I'm going fucking nuts. I feel
like it really just works for Andy Dufresne. Like I have never actually watched Tim Robbins. I'm sorry, Tim Robbins. I've never actually seen him in a role and not thought Andy Dufresne. I mean, that's all that happened. It's in my head.
Bull Durham. I feel like Bull Durham. I don't think Andy Dufresne. I think.
Well, that guy was a meathead, or whatever they call him. I think they just call him.
No, Andy. Andy 100%. Yeah, Andy 100%. I think that's Porky's. It might be. Maybe Bull Durham too. But no, Andy Dufresne definitely needs a therapist, like 100%. That dude is too withdrawn, even though it's a great character trait. He has a lot of trauma he needs to talk out, and that's one good thing. He got Morgan Freeman at the end. They can just live out their happy bromance out in Zuwatsuneho.
Yes,
and that could be his therapy.
Oh, also,
but I give this movie 3.5 stars. It's deserving of 4, but I've watched it so many times that it has fallen away to 3.5. But like I fucking love it. It's so good.
It's a fucking good movie. I think I want to give it a face and a half. There it is, folks. A face and a half. I really like this movie. Otherwise I wouldn't. Otherwise,
fireworks for your rating.
Continue to watch it. Like, it's literally, oh look, Shawshank Redemption's on. And it just sits there, like I won't turn the channel unless the commercials come, and then I'll be like, okay, what else is on?
Okay, I've seen this before. I can move on. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It is a good movie.
It is. I did want to say that Red is the man who knows how to get things. I don't think we really expressed that. That is the original relationship between him and Andy. Is like, Red is the guy to go to if you want stuff, and I won't mention what he asked for because we gotta leave something for you to go watch and see. Go watch the movie if you haven't seen it. You under the rock,
freaking real. Sorry, I spoiled some things.
So I think that we should, right before we move on, just mention the performance of James Whitmore as Brooks Hatlin. That's a pretty good add to his story too, and we'll just leave his story for you guys. But we talked about the institutionalization, and his storyline has a lot to do with that.
It bothers me that he releases his bird.
Yeah,
poor Jake.
Yeah,
I wish they'd found each other again.
They could have helped each other. Yeah,
it's sad.
He wasn't supposed to have the bird.
Before we move on to our other feature, Holes, let us say that if you like what you're listening to today, you can go down to patreon.com/greenandfaceless and check out our tiers. Help us out monetarily if you so desire. We'll always do this for free, though. We just love and appreciate you Patreons out there.
Yes, please, though, if you can support the show, we'd really appreciate it. I mean, we'd love if we could do, I feel like 2 episodes a week is honestly pretty admirable. But I mean, just imagine if we had more, but maybe different shows. I could see us.
Yeah, for real. If
we had more time to work on it, and
if we had more patrons, if we had a lot, like if we were able to like go part-time on our jobs and like focus more on this. Just imagine there could be a Doctor Who podcast where I talk about each specific serial of Classic Who and I go into detail about everything. Wouldn't that be exciting? Wouldn't that be so much fun? That'd be great, guys.
Yeah.
And gals. And potatoes. Patreon.com/green and faceless. Make my dream happen.
If you want to hear the Doctor Who campaign compendium on Doctor Who's companions, then go on down to patreon.com/green and faceless. But also, if you want to just support us, you can do that as well. Thank you.
Yeah. I won't waste all your money on a Doctor Who podcast.
Just half.
A little bit. Just half of it.
Let's take a soda pop break.
Indeed.
I gotta dig them hoes. Gotta. I don't know if that's how it goes, but I remember listening to that song quite a bit. If only
the woodpecker sighs. There's something and something and something that dies.
Sounds like there's someone knocking on my house.
Your ass? On your ass?
On my house.
On your house.
On my house.
Just knocking on the
I
whole
wonder
house.
if it can be heard on the microphone, but whatever. Welcome back.
Yay!
This is a musical about how to dig the best hole.
Yeah.
It stars Shia LaBeouf.
Featuring so many tracks from Kids Bop.
Yes, and a lot of kids from Kids Bop, including Cleo Thomas, Jake M. Smith, Byron Cotton. I'm sure they were all in Kids Bop. I'm 100% sure. As well as Brendan Jefferson. Okay, let me go back through that. Cleo Thomas plays Zero. All these kids have their own nicknames. J.M. Smith, Squid, Byron Cotton, Armpit, Brendan Jefferson is X-Ray, Miguel Castro is Magnet, and Max Cash is Zigzag. That's our main crew from Green Lake Camp. Isn't that Camp Green Lake? That's what it is.
Camp Green Lake, yeah.
Our star, Shia LaBeouf.
Not to be confused with Camp Crystal Lake.
That's right. Not to be confused with Camp Crystal Lake, where all the bad things happen.
Right, and Shia LaBeouf, it is his debut. This is his first film.
Yeah, he was on Even Stevens. He was already a star. In the children's eyes, anyways. My parents thought that one was funny too, and he was funny.
Yeah,
I mean, he was super strange, like just the strangest character. I don't even remember what his character's name was. His first name. I remember his sister's name was Ren. That's.
I don't remember. I never watched it. I think I watched like 2 episodes and was like,
and then Beans existed.
Yeah.
Secret Review of Even Stevens. So Stanley Yelnats, spelt the same front ways and backwards.
It's a palindrome.
Yeah, he's also the 4th in the line of Stanley Yelnats.
Mm-hmm.
And
because with a name like that, you got to keep it going.
Yes, of course. I mean, you got to. Anyhow, this family, not starting with the first Stanley, starting with what the fuck was the kids their ancestor's name? It was Elia. That's not how you say it, though. But he is their descendant that migrated from the old country to America, but Elia Yelnats was a no good pig stealing such and such. I don't remember how it goes.
Dirty rotten great great grandfather.
Yes, dirty rotten great great grandfather, portrayed by Damon Luvara in the flashback story that they show about that. But basically, he got cursed because a fortune teller named Madame Zeroni surprisingly cameoed by, I say cameo because she's just hardly used, but it's Eartha King. Is that right? I had it here just a second ago. Eartha Kitt. She's cool. You'd recognize, people our age will recognize her voice for many things, including Disney movies. Like she was Yzma in The Emperor's New Groove, and she also was Catwoman. She was a later Catwoman in the Adam West Show. And we're doing our Batman series. Yeah. She's not going to be the Catwoman in the upcoming movie that we're going to watch for next week.
Yeah. But I do remember her shit in the show because it was a lot of fun.
Anyhow, that's what she first got really famous for. I think she was also a comedian and a singer, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Unfortunately, she passed away in 2008.
And I do love her as Madame Zeroni. There's a lot of fun. But yes, she curses the Yelnats family because Elia is longing for a woman in his village. I don't remember her name, but he wants her real bad, and all he has to offer the father as a dowry is his heart full of loving and longness. And then the father's like, yeah, but the neighbor's, he's gonna give me his biggest pig, so I'm gonna take the pig over your freaking heart. And so Elia's like, nah, bro, no, that's not good. So he goes out, he gets a pig, and based off of Madame Zeroni's advice, she tells him, you have to carry the pig up the mountain every day so it can drink at the water. And then once this is all done, you have to carry me up the mountain. And
so I can get strong.
Exactly, that's right. But he fucks up because he brings the pig to get the blessing, to earn the daughter of the love, the woman he's longing for, and finds out that she's just ditzy as fuck. Yeah. And he's just like, oh.
She's like she's making a competition based off of the pigs. And he's like, I put my blood, sweat, and tears of this because I thought I loved you. You can keep the pig. Yeah. And he leaves.
Without taking Madame Zeroni up the mountain, he forgets. He leaves. He goes to America based off of her advice because her son went there, and he's just like, I want to do that too, like she said. The only problem is he didn't carry up the mountain, and so the family is fucking cursed.
That is right. The family
bad luck, cursed.
Man. Bad luck. So they've always been failures at whatever they tried. One exception, but then again, he got ruined because he was robbed. We'll get back to that. Yeah. I believe that was Stanley Yelnats the first, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And Henry Winkler plays Stanley Yelnats the third, and he's an inventor, and he's trying to come up with something that gets rid of foot stink. And so their house is just terrible, and the landlord always, played by Shelley Molly, always complains. And Stanley's mother can also not stand it. She's played by Sabhan Fallon Hogan. I'm sorry if I said your name incorrectly. She's they're good parents, if a little distracted because everything's going wrong all the time. And Stanley gets caught stealing shoes.
But he's innocent. We know that one from the start,
we
too.
We do know he's innocent.
You see the shoes literally fall on him.
They fall from the sky. They're from legendary athlete Clyde Sweet Feet Livingston, played by Rick Fox.
Sweet Feet.
And,
oh my gosh.
They go to court.
Everybody's got to have a nickname.
They throw the book at him. They say, you could either go to prison, which he's a kid. You either go to prison.
Yeah, that's so fucking funny to me.
Yeah.
Jesus. It's so funny.
I mean, though, you
stole a pair of shoes?
I know. They're shoes that were going to charity. That's why the morale side of it is so high.
Right. It's just, it's really still stupid. It's just like go to jail for like a year and a half, or go to a camp for a year and a half where you're gonna dig holes.
Yep.
I'll take the camp. I've never been to camp.
I'll go, but they don't say anything about the holes. It's just called Camp Green Lake. So he's like, of course, I've never been to camp before. And then he goes. He's basically in prison, except for he is digging holes in the desert with rationed water.
And dangerous yellow spotted lizards.
Yes. So they're just spiny lizards, which are pretty common, actually. And
they're CGI'd throughout the entire movie, unless they're like in a shot where they're just calm and inactive. Literally every time they move, it's just CGI'd, and I'm just like, oh my god, could you not have gotten one action shot with these creatures? It probably wouldn't have been that hard to get. Like, just keep a camera on them for a while. I'm sure you'll get one of them running at the camera soon.
Right. It's like, okay, we don't have time for this nature documentary bullshit. We're going to computer animate it, which probably took just as long and cost twice as much.
Oh my god, yeah. And it looks stupid after that. In our day and age, it looks stupid. Back then, I'm sure
I bet it looked fine.
Like,
I bet it looked fine back then. We were like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
But no. It's not good now. But
I do love the movie opens up with a rattlesnake bite. It's like the kids are out in the desert digging the holes, and then Barf Bag, who is the person who Caveman Stanley Yelnats replaces. Barf Bag just like, he's done with it, man. He gets up out of his hole, he walks over to a rattlesnake and just lets himself get bitten. That opening shot is so fucking funny, because it's just like it's this movie does a lot of like clip shots. I don't know what to call them, but it's just like, they're not a long running shot. It's just more like, the frame rate drops like crazy. You know, it's one of those kind of shots, and then they do like fades to the next scene, and it's hilarious, because it's just like it's him getting bit by the snake, and then he's just like,
yeah. It's so just like so dramatic, so serious. Barf Bag was played by Zane Holtz, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Good job, Zane. You're 20 seconds of fame.
One scene very well. Yeah. He apparently was in a movie just a couple years ago, so he's working.
Nice. Still active. Still doing it. Live the dream, my man.
Indeed. So, the thing is, this whole camp was set up so that one specific, very famous actor could live their dream.
Yes.
Sigourney Weaver. Plays... Oh, shit. Who the fuck does she actually play? Is she not on this cast list? What the fuck?
Warden Louise Walker.
Warden Walker. What was the warden's name in the other one? Warden Norton. Walker.
Strong names. And she runs the camp from a distance, and unbeknownst to the rest of the diggers and
I guess the two other camp counselors or whatever, Mr. Sir and Dr. Pendansky, played by John Voight and Tim Blake Nelson. John Voight's involvement in this movie, it's so funny. Like, it's John Voight, but he's doing like a hick.
Yeah, and he's good at it, but at the same time he's like not good at it. It's so funny.
It's kind of campy. I like it. It's fun.
Yeah. And like I'm not sure if he's like supposed to be drunk in scenes, because like they never show alcohol. The only thing he chews gum, and does he chew gum?
No, it's sunflower seeds because he's trying to stop smoking.
Yeah. Exactly. He gave up the smoke, and he drinks Coke, and that's about it. But there's one scene in particular where he's wandering around at night, crazy eyed, and like shooting at all the lizards that and it's just like that scene with John Voight. is so off-puttingly funny. Like, he is going way too ham in that scene. And I also, I love that Dr. Podansky, his nickname is Mom.
Yes.
The kids nicknamed him Mom.
Yes. Because he's the only one who pretends to care, and then he really just doesn't. And he really dogs
and he's in everything
on Zero,
too.
Kilo Thompson's character. Kilo Thomas's character.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. But Zero, until Stanley comes along, doesn't even talk to the rest of the camp members. But he's their best hole digger. He can do it super fast.
Yep.
He just constantly gets shat on by Pendansky, who's the only person there who is supposed to pretend to care about these kids. And he's their counselor of sorts. Yeah. And he does always say something semi-encouraging, but there's always this this cutting undertone. Yeah. It's pretty great. Right. Honestly, I like
the problem is you.
Yeah. The problem.
Yeah. I mean, he's in everything too, Tim Blake Nelson. He's in a lot of, I'm going to say a lot of Coen Brother movies, but maybe he's not in a lot. Maybe he's just in Ballad of Buster Scruggs. But
I'm pretty sure he was in Brother We're Out Thou. Maybe that was a different guy. Nope, he's in Brother We're Out Thou.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say, I was thinking that too, but I was just like, I don't want to
He's also in one of the Hulk movies, apparently. The Incredible Hulk.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I don't remember which one that
was. He's in Scooby-Doo 2. We're going to, spoilers, we're going to talk Scooby-Doo later on, but he's in Scooby-Doo 2.
We got to talk about the third storyline, the background, the other background storyline, not background, flashback.
The one with the dude from Psych.
Yes, so we got Kissin' Kate Barlow, and the dude from Psych. Kissin' Kate Barlow, though, is played by Patricia Arquette. Did you notice that?
Yeah. I did not. Not until it took me halfway. It took until she became Kissin' Kate Barlow.
Right,
when she was
me too.
The school teacher, I didn't recognize her. When she was Kissin' Kate Barlow, I was like, wait a second, I know who that is.
Yeah.
I mean, and guy from Psych is rude. It's Dule Hill. He's an amazing actor. I love Dule Hill.
He plays Sam, Onion Sam. You will recognize him from the internet if you have not actually seen this movie.
Right. I can fix that.
But he is great. I fucking love Sam. And, he keeps on... Yeah, Sam. So he's got his onions, and he trades them for Miss Barlow's spiced peaches. And it's this cute little exchange, and it...
No metaphor there.
Spiced peaches. Here, baby, take my onions.
Ooh. You like my stench?
This is a beautiful story.
It's a romance, you fucks.
So, anyhow, this romance blooms between them. But the town gets wind of that, and because Sam is black and she is a white school teacher, they freak the fuck out, burn down her schoolhouse, and much, much worse, as we all know what happens in that era in America. So it's really sad, and then she breaks bad, and she becomes a famous outlaw.
Yeah, they give her reason to go crazy. And somehow the kids are able to put all of this together with basically no information, even though the audience are the ones seeing all the flashbacks.
Right.
The kids see bits and pieces of things and are able to, Stanley Yelnats is able to piece together this puzzle through 3 shots. That's it.
But it's not just the 3 shots, though. It's because...
But there's a heavily coincidental reason.
Yes, it's that maybe. But like he says later... It feels like destiny. And I feel like
it's very
I
Dickensian.
love how this movie's set up. I absolutely love how it's set up.
I enjoy the storytelling aspects. It is a very wonderful, if you've never read the novel, it's actually written by the same, the screenplay and the novel are both written by Louis Sakar. I might be pronouncing his name wrong, I'm so sorry. But like, it's very fascinating, especially for a very young adult. Like, I love the Destiny feel of this as a young adult story. But at the same time, I would kind of like to see it and there are many stories already that, it's based off of a lot of tales. I mean, again, every plot beat is the same as Shawshank, which is also it's not the first prison escape film.
Right. But
like, yeah, I would just like to see it with more grounded coincidence. Because a lot of the stuff that happens in this are just way too like, yes, you have to be in this exact specific position, have this exact specific thing happen so that you can carry a specific person up this mountain.
Okay.
That breaking
part,
a curse.
Yes. Okay, the breaking the curse part, sure. But I thought you were talking about... So I think I mentioned that Sigourney Weaver, her character is having them dig holes because she's looking for Kissing Kate's treasure, and that and
because she robbed every bank from here across all the west to such and such,
and that's what brings in that part of the story to our story. But also, this is something that Stanley mentions that he's interested in, this character Kissing Kate, and that's what I'll say about it. So I feel like the way that the story's told, it makes sense. Sure, there's some convenience there, but I also am giving credit to Louis C.K. because it was set up throughout the story. It's not like it came out of left field.
Yeah, that's totally true. I'm just like, my convenience, or where I get annoyed by it, because it's like Sigourney Weaver, what she's doing, what she's searching for, that all makes sense. It's really well established. You get it by the end. It's really great. But the fact that Stanley came there was a complete coincidence. True. I mean, not convenience.
That is true.
He could have gone, again, to prison or to any other fucking camp in the country that was near them. It just happened that was the one that the judge was like, I'm giving you these two options. This camp I just randomly heard about or this place. Right. And it's just like the fact that, sorry for spoilers, Zero is important in regards to their curse. I will just say that.
Yeah.
And the fact that Zero is at that camp, at that exact spot, and also the fact that Zero is part of the reason Stanley's there in the first place. I won't go further into that. But, like, there's so much damn coincidence that it's like, I love it at the same time. Like, as a kid, I fucking love this book. I love this movie. As an adult, I'm like, this is all good. I just want it to be more grounded. I want it to be more... I don't know, like, realistic feeling. Yes, it could still be Destiny. That's totally fine. But I want there to be more gentle guidance into this whole coincidence, if that makes sense.
Sure.
I don't know.
So you don't like God's thumb.
I'm just looking for shit.
That's okay. I always liked God's thumb. I've wanted to see it someday.
I hate God's thumb.
It's real.
No, that's like... No, I would love to actually, that kind of a landmark would be cool, but like it's very like Deus Ex Machina, in a way, and like that's my least favorite storytelling aspect. I can't stand that. Like Stephen King's The Stand is one of the most frustrating novels I've ever read because you get through 1,100 pages, 900 of them is really good, and in the last 100, God's hand comes down and ends the fucking story because Steven didn't know how to fucking end it. But God's hand literally comes down and ends it. It's a literal Deus Ex Machina. And I can't. It's like, it's the most frustrating ending to something that I've like suffered so long through. I'm just like, oh, I love this book. I can't wait to see how it ends. That's it? That's fucking it? I was so mad. So mad. It's like my least favorite storytelling element.
Well, okay, I can appreciate that, but
it doesn't ruin this film.
It does, and also it is another thing that is mentioned earlier in the film. Like it's not. Once again, it's not literally out of left field. It's not literally God's hand coming in.
No, it's not.
So, anywho, let's do closing statements on this movie.
I mean, I'm just fishing for shit, honestly. Like, I don't hate this movie, and I don't hate the coincidence aspect of it. I do greatly enjoy it. I do love the music. I think the music's hilarious.
Yeah.
John Voight's fucking funny, and
Yes.
Shia LaBeouf. Who doesn't like Shia LaBeouf? Actually, I kind of have my off and on moments with Shia LaBeouf, but this is an on moment. Yeah, he's good in this role. He's really funny. I also don't like the kids aspect. Like, the kids fluctuate from being like making fun of him and hating him, and then being totally okay with him and being best friends, and then they're back to being pissed with him again, and then just like at the end they're all best friends again, and I'm just like. It's so weird, like, and then the new kid comes in when Twitchy, whatever his name is,
Twitch,
when he comes in,
Noah Politic,
and they just immediately love him. They're just like all over him, just like, yeah, we love this guy. And I'm like, you gave like every other new kid shit for fucking ever, and then Twitch comes in, nobody's gonna give this kid shit. They're just like, yeah, we like Twitch, like he's one of us. And I'm just like, that's great, but at the same time, I'm like, go fuck yourself, kids. Like y'all fucking mean, like. Yeah. I give it 2.5 stars. I do enjoy it. I love the background story a lot. Like Kissing Kate Barlow and that whole stuff. That's a lot of fun. Dule Hill, great actor. Love you in Psych. Like, yeah, I do definitely recommend it.
I honestly haven't seen that much of Psych, so I can't say. But Onion Sam is a great person. A great, great soul.
Yeah.
I just love this movie, and I thought that, it was going to be all nostalgia, but it wasn't. It really holds up. It's a good movie. Did you give it a star rating?
I gave it 2.5, yeah.
2.5. Okay. Well, I give it a face, and I'm very tempted to give it a face and a half. And that might just be the nostalgia. So I'm doing it. It's got the half a stamp. I got a whole stamp and then a half. I remember
dragging my parents out to the theaters to watch this. Like, I remember coming home and just like going giddy on that film. And, mom and dad, like, I think they liked it enough that I just remember they were just like, yeah, that was a fun film. And I'm just like, oh my god, because I love the story. The story was great for a kid.
I've already read the book. I've also read the book before I watched the movie as well. And I loved reading it. I think we read it in class, and I thought it was one of the best books I've ever read at the time.
Yeah, it's really good. I'm like, and again, I'm just fishing for shit because I love Shawshank, and I can't, I'm going to choose Shawshank over this film in regards to whatever kind of niche genre. If we're looking at it as which movie is about the best of hole digging, I would still give it the Shawshank because that's a lot of fucking determination. 19 years of digging with a tiny rock hammer.
Oh,
it's amazing.
I thought we were going to get away without telling him.
Oh, well, I already told him it was about digging holes.
We did say it was about digging holes. So, I think I have to agree with you. It's just, it's a classic movie, The Shawshank Redemption. Not to say that Holes isn't or won't be held up as a classic movie as we go on. You just, I feel like whatever era it is, you're going to go to Shawshank Redemption and get something good out of it. And who knows, maybe as this Holes continues to age, it won't age so well. Lord knows that the music is on the edge, I'll say. I think it's far enough away that it's become retro and it's okay, but it's not retro actually, because the 90s are retro right now, I think. Maybe the 90s are vintage, actually. I don't know how the fuck that works. Somebody tell us in the comments.
I stay out.
And, we did the show, I guess. Fuck.
That's it. That is it. I am the Green Traveler from Gorsh. Thank you for listening.
And I am the Faceless Leon. Yes, thank you guys so much for being here. Just let us ramble on, and we appreciate that from you. Thank you. Safe travels, and good night. Don't laugh at me.
I just love the pause. Thank you.
Green and Faceless on the Couch is a proud production of FictionWorks 19. Are you a fan of the show? Feel free to contact us at greenandfacelessfans@gmail.com or visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/greenandfaceless. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Thank you so much for listening.